Oh, shit. All right, and boom, we're live. MMA Complete episode number 32 is in the books. Thank you all for watching. Thank everybody for joining. We have been having some surge of fans, a couple of those diehard people that just watch every show, some of those people that have been tuning in from, other programs, or maybe you've seen it on Facebook that we do the live shows for the pay-per-views and things like that. Either way, no matter how you got here, I appreciate everybody watching. I will be joined shortly by Austin Garvey. And I do believe that Mark Tosi will be joining in via webcam. So we have a great show for you today. Obviously, just coming off of UFC 258, which was last weekend. Kamaru Usman was successful in defending his welterweight title, which we all saw coming. If you didn't catch the fight, it was a tremendous fight because for the first time in his career, Kamaru Usman did get knocked down. He did get knocked down by Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, the one-time training partner, and I guess, like a best friend, brother type relationship with Kamaru Usman. And in the first round, in the first 2 minutes, Gilbert Burns threw an overhand right that rocked Kamaru Usman. We haven't seen Kamaru Usman really, besides the Colby fight where he took a considerable amount of damage, we haven't seen him get dropped at all. And Gilbert Burns did just that. In the second and third round, though, mostly in the second round, Kamaru Usman fired back. He stayed tough. He stayed in the pocket, rights and lefts, and he would eventually catch Burns with several jabs. Kamaru Usman has one of the best jabs I've ever seen, and this fight was no different. And he caught him with several jabs, and then he landed an overhand right, which absolutely rocked Gilbert Burns to his core. Watching the fight live, and especially right after the fight, all of us for MMA Complete that were watching kind of assumed that Gilbert Burns got a minor concussion. And it was pretty bad. Gilbert Burns was obviously upset afterwards. He may have shed a few tears, which is not uncommon in a position like his, going for a world title and losing. But Gilbert Burns definitely did get rocked very hard. Kamaru Usman even said so in his post-fight interview that it was not a good fight for him. It was very tough for him to do that to Gilbert Burns, as it would be for anybody fighting one of their best friends. But Kamaru Usman was successful in his defense of his welterweight title against Gilbert Burns, and now Kamaru Usman is looking for his next challenger. And the welterweight division is stacked, man. The welterweight division is so stacked. Kamaru Usman is so above, head and shoulders above everybody else in that division, that it's kind of crazy to say the division is stacked, but it really is. The top five of that division is tough. You got Colby Covington, you got Jorge Masvidal, you got Leon Edwards, you got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, you got an emerging superstar like Vicente Luque, who Vicente Luque will be taking on Tyron Woodley, another welterweight challenger, at UFC 259 in a matchup that I'm pretty excited for. I think Luque is going to get a chance to really show that he belongs in the top five when he beats Woodley, and vice versa. If Woodley does win, he shows that he still belongs in the top five of the welterweight division that he ruled for so long before Kamaru Usman. So other than that, in UFC 258, we did see Kelvin Gastelum beat Ian Heinisch by unanimous decision, 3 rounds. Kelvin Gastelum worked the clinch game perfectly, and he also had tremendous wrestling against Ian Heinisch. Ian Heinisch was able to come back a little bit in the third round, standing up. It was a fight that we weren't expecting, because Kelvin Gastelum is normally great standing up, and Ian Heinisch is normally great on the ground, and the roles were kind of reversed in that fight. But we did see Kelvin Gastelum pick up the win. He will now move on to bigger and better things in the middleweight division as he tries to go back to the top of that division, which is now held by Adesanya. And we did see Alexa Grasso beat Macy Barber in the co-main event in a fight that was wildly entertaining. Macy Barber, 22 years old, and she's in the top 15 of her division. She has a tremendous future ahead of her. Macy Barber was ferocious and explosive, standing, throwing shots at Alexa Grasso. Grasso just seemed more experienced, more patient. She was able to take a couple shots and keep coming. Macy Barber kind of threw everything out the window and went wild after she got hit. So there was obviously some points where you can say she has room to grow. But that was about it for the big fights, UFC 258. There was a lot of fights that happened that were just great fights, but it wasn't the name value that you see in a lot of other pay-per-views. Definitely wasn't what you saw in UFC 257 between Conor McGregor and Poirier, and it will not be what we see UFC 259, which UFC 259 is the biggest fight card as far as name value, as far as the names on the roster that'll be fighting. Probably in like 6-7 pay-per-views, going back to like Khabib, Gaethje, something like that. UFC 259 is chock full of champions. First of all, there's 3 championship fights, but chock full of tremendous challengers, people who we've wanted to see go for the title for a long time, and some up-and-coming stars that are vying for a number 1 contender spot, which we will see. So we have a great show for you today. We're going to be going all the way to 9 o'clock. I will be joined by Austin soon. Mark will join us via webcam. And I will take a quick commercial break. You're watching MMA Complete, brought to you by SFBNRI. Check out all SFBNRI platforms at YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Periscope, Twitter. Check out MMA Complete Twitter and our YouTube channel, which has been doing pretty well over the last couple weeks, and all that shit. I'll be right back. And we're back. So we obviously were just talking about UFC 258 as I try to make some text right here because we will have Mark Tosi joining us via webcam. So I'm just trying to send him a link. So I'll be talking 1 second. It's kind of crazy how much UFC has been blowing up, man. UFC 259 is going to be such a great pay-per-view. It's so crazy. All right, and boom, we're live again. I will be joined shortly by Austin. Mark will be joining us via webcam. We're going to be talking about Fight Night 186, I think, is coming up between Curtis Blaydes and Derek Lewis. That will be coming this weekend, just in 2 days on February 20th. We'll also be talking about the February 27th Fight Night card, again, something like 185. Both have a great main event with a couple other fights worthy of talking about on their undercard. A lot of heavyweight fights and light heavyweight fights will be coming the next 2 weekends. And, the heavyweight division it's a division that we've been talking about for the last couple weeks. Really couple months, of the fact that they don't have a lot of star power. A lot of their top 5, top 10, top 15 are all aged veterans, 35 and up for the most part. And there's nothing wrong with that because these are the guys that, people like me grew up watching UFC. So it's great. It's always great seeing them fight. Even though most of the time the older guys, they tend to lose by knockout, which is not great to see. But there is a little bit of potential in the heavyweight division, and that starts and almost ends with with 3 or 4 of the guys that I'm going to be talking about soon. So one of the biggest, let's start with the most popular. So this guy is old, but he's still feeling rejuvenated. He's going to be fighting one of the top contenders in the heavyweight division this weekend, February 20th. And he's popular. Everybody loves him, mostly for his social media moments where he kind of says some funny stuff. It's the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis will be fighting, in my opinion, besides John Jones, who's not technically a heavyweight yet, but he will be. The greatest potential to be a heavyweight star, heavyweight champion, and a superstar in social media, and that's Curtis Blades. Curtis Razor Blades is, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. Why do I say that? Well, one, he has the most takedown attempts, or the most successful takedowns in a single fight in heavyweight history. And, when you talk about that, you have guys like Brock Lesnar, like Frank Mir, like Minotauro Nogueira, like Antonio Nogueira. You also have, some other legends. The name escapes right now, the heavyweight that was, it's not Fedor or anything. He was in the UFC, but he was a tremendous wrestler and he would just take everybody down. It might have been Frank Mir, but I know Frank Mir, so I don't know why. Anyway. Curtis Blades will take you down 20 times and have no problem. And he will beat you up. And then once you get up, he'll take you down again. And he'll do that for 3 rounds with consistency. His cardio's off the charts. His wrestling background is truly amazing. And, he is, for all intents and purposes, the next big thing in the division. But when you say that, you have to look at, what else could be considered the next best thing. And to that, I would answer that Stipe Miocic is already the big thing, and anybody who's going to be the next big thing has to go through him, which is easier said than done. Only Daniel Cormier has been able to do it, and he got lucky with a vicious uppercut that just caught Miocic sleeping. So Curtis Blades will be taking on Derek Lewis this Saturday night, February 20th, main event, UFC Fight Night 186, something like that. And for my opinion, and for the opinion of all the other staff on MMA Complete, it will be, I don't want to say unfair, but it teeters towards unfair because Derek Lewis is a good wrestler. He's not great. He normally comes into fights looking to brawl, and for the most part of his career, he's not as in shape as Curtis Blades for sure. But he's just not very in shape. He comes in a little, overweight, a little chubby. And Curtis Blades is the kind of guy that, he's not going to look to finish you in the first round. He's going to look to take you down 6 times in the first round and then 8 times in the second round. So that by the time the third round starts and you're completely winded, gasping for air, you can't keep your mouth shut, he's going to pick you apart. He might even try to take you down again in the third round for 10 more times just to get his stat total up. You never know. But, unless Derek Lewis finishes his fight quick or he just gets, the most telegraphed flying knee to a takedown from Curtis Blades in the second round, I don't see any way Curtis Blades loses this fight. Curtis Blades right now is the number 2 ranked contender in the heavyweight division. Derek Lewis, number 4. And, Curtis Blades is, I love Curtis Blades. I think he's severely underrated. 14-2 in his career, and the only 2 losses he's had have been knockouts by Francis Ngannou. Which, by the way, if you've been knocked out by Francis Ngannou, you should wear that with like a badge of honor, because he really is the hardest hitter the UFC's ever seen. And Curtis Blades he's never faced Stipe. He's never gone for a championship fight. Both of his number 1 contender bouts were finished by Francis Ngannou, and that's tough to see. But we're going to obviously be seeing Miocic versus Ngannou on March 27th, UFC 260. And then after that, John Jones is going to be fighting the winner, which leaves the loser with, they need a fight. And we could speculate as much as we want about the Miocic versus Ngannou fight, who's going to win, who's going to lose. Money is on Francis Ngannou. He's the favorite for Sportsbook. But true MMA fans, like myself, like a lot of other people, think that Stipe will be able to gut it out and wrestle Ngannou and beat him. Not finish him, but just be a better mixed martial artist on that day. Because Stipe has already proven that he's done it. He went to UFC 237, 238, and he 5 rounds, unanimous decision, 50-45, 50-44 Ngannou. It was Ngannou's worst loss to date, besides Derek Lewis. But I would love to see Curtis Blaydes get his shot at a top contender not named Francis Ngannou, because it seems like that's his kryptonite, getting hit really hard in the chin, as it would be for anybody. Curtis Blaydes, in my opinion, is the toughest matchup for Jon Jones in the heavyweight division. Obviously, Stipe and Francis impose physical intimidation. Maybe not Stipe as much, but you just know that Stipe is the toughest guy in the world, and he's battled with all these great giants and won. And he has tremendous boxing. He has great ground game, great clinch work. He's great all over. Francis Ngannou has the best right hand the sport's ever seen. Curtis Blaydes has some of the best cardio, some of the best wrestling, some of the best takedowns in the division's history. Period. Not a lot of guys can say that. You could have one thing, like they all do. Francis has his power. Stipe has his toughness. Arguably everything else, but we'll just say toughness. Curtis Blaydes has his wrestling. And what can you beat Jon Jones with? First of all, no one knows because he hasn't lost yet. But what do you beat Jon Jones with? You beat Jon Jones with cardio. You beat Jon Jones with wanting it more. And you beat Jon Jones by taking a shot, which all these guys can do. All right, so shit. So that's going to be the main event, February 20th, Curtis Blaydes versus Derek Lewis. We are all assuming that Curtis Blaydes is going to win, as he should. And then also, Fight Night 227, Fight Night on February 27th, 187, something like that. I'll have to look that up. Is between Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who is the number 3 contender in the heavyweight division, and Cyril Gane, who's, I believe, 7th. Cyril Gane, if you don't know, fought at a couple different organizations, LFA, Strikeforce. I think Strikeforce. Definitely LFA. And he is 7-0, professional mixed martial artist, who recently knocked out Junior Dos Santos a couple months ago, and now he will be taking on Jairzinho Rozenstruik in a fight that really intrigues me. Rozenstruik is another one of the guys that has been undefeated until they run up to Francis Ngannou, just like Curtis Blaydes. Jairzinho Rozenstruik is 10-1, one knockout loss by Francis Ngannou. And he will be fighting Cyril Gane. So we have 2 guys who, if they'd never fought Francis Ngannou, for all intents and purposes, are undefeated. 2 guys that are very big guys, very powerful guys that are going to look to knock you out. Both fighters are coming off a knockout win in their last fight. Both off Junior Dos Santos, ironically. And Cyril Gane is a little younger than Rozenstruik. I'm going to pull this up right now because actually, now that I say it, I don't know if he is younger. Cyril Gane is 2 years younger than Rozenstruik. He also is going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. This says Cyril Gane usually comes in around 10 to 15 pounds heavier than Rozenstruik. I don't know how true that is. Rozenstruik has a little bit of a gut on him. But this fight is very, very important because these 2 are, along with Curtis Blaydes, 2 of the best chances to dethrone Stipe Miocic besides Jon Jones, because they're young and they're hungry and they have great records. Obviously, they're going to have to take on guys like Ngannou, and they're going to have to withstand that power that almost no one has. Really, only Miocic has. But I really think that Cyril Gane will be able to take on Rozenstruik and probably knock him out. Cyril Gane looked very vicious and he didn't have a lot of holes in his game against Junior Dos Santos, which is what you need to have. You need to be balanced to fight these top guys at 265. And I believe Cyril Gane has that. Rozenstruik, I'd like to see a little bit more from him. First of all, I'd like to see Rozenstruik get in shape. Rozenstruik came into his last fight in a lot better shape against Junior Dos Santos, but he still has a lot of ways to go. You know, I think he walked in at 245. It looks like he could get down to 230, 235. I don't know if he wants to do that. I don't know if it's going to, you know, mess with his power or his rhythm or his cardio, but I'm sure that if you got the right nutritionist, you could. Not saying that I have any background in going to fight somebody and going through training camp and eating the right things and making sure my body's the right physically and mentally to do it. But if I had to do it, I would assume that getting a nutritionist, getting in perfect shape, running 10 miles a day is how you do it. It doesn't seem like Rozenstruik does that. It does seem like Cyril Gane does that. Cyril Gane was in phenomenal shape, and we expect him to be in phenomenal shape again in a week or 9 days. And the Curtis Blaydes fight is a little bit more predictable, so it's not as intriguing to a spectator, but both of these fights are very intriguing in the sense that, one, we're going to have a more solidly painted heavyweight contendership picture at the end of 2 weeks. And two, we're going to probably see these guys fight each other afterwards if they don't fight the loser of the championship fight, because most likely the loser of the championship fight in UFC 260 between Ngannou and Miocic will take some time off, and we'll likely see the winner fight John Jones somewhere around the summer, maybe August. So that leaves these two, the winner of these two bouts, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blaydes, and Rozenstruik Gane, to fight each other. And I think that that's going to be a really good fight no matter who it is. Obviously, we think Blaydes is going to win and be a part of that matchup. I believe that Cyril Gane will win, although Rozenstruik has a really good shot with his power. But as I'm being joined by my first guest. But at the end of the day, Blaydes is probably the best out of all four of these prospects that will be fighting the next 2 weeks. Rozenstruik has maybe the next most experience besides Derek Lewis. But Cyril Gane, I think, has the most upside. You all right? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Not gonna lie.
I was just talking about the fight nights. You tank.
I bet, bro.
Yeah.
I just smoked.
Nice. Yeah, so I was talking about, obviously, 2 days. We got Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blaydes. Talk about how we all think Derek Lewis is going to win.
No.
Yeah.
Curtis Blaydes is going to win.
No, I've talked about how Curtis Blaydes it's the perfect matchup for Blaydes. He's going to just take down Lewis the whole time. Derek Lewis is going to come in probably not in great shape anyway, and by the second round and definitely the third round, he's not going to be happy.
Yeah, I think Derek Lewis is going to lose this fight easily, and that's no offense to him. It's just Blaydes is just on another level.
Yeah. Blaydes with his wrestling and his cardio.
Like Derek Lewis,
Derek Lewis
ranked way too high.
I don't know if he is. He's had a lot of good wins.
Got lucky.
Right. But that's what the heavyweight division is. You got to get that huge knockout.
Yeah.
And that's something that we could talk about for Curtis Blaydes. Like, Derek Lewis totally has the possibility of knocking out Curtis Blaydes.
Yeah, I was just reading something in my car, and Alistair Overeem wants to retire, and Derek Lewis just called him out and said to not retire, that he wants to fight him. I mean, that's something, but I mean...
Yeah, that would be like a dream matchup. I would love to see that fight.
Yeah.
I think Overeem will retire, though. I thought he was going to retire 4 years ago.
No upside to him fighting Derek Lewis. Just like another payday.
Yeah, just making money.
Yeah.
But that's all the heavyweight division is for anybody not in the top five. Because that top five is so concrete that, like, you're not fucking... If you're not in it. Which Overeem is. Overeem's like 6, I think. Because Volkov just beat him, so he's probably at 5 now. But the point I was going to say is that Derek Lewis has a chance to knock out Curtis Blaydes. He goes for a takedown. Derek Lewis catches him with an uppercut or a knee. It's totally a chance.
Oh, that's a chance.
It's
but
got to happen in the first round.
I'm not betting on the guy that has like that one chance.
Right. I agree with you. And then I was also talking about next week, Rozenstruik versus Gane.
Yeah. Yeah, Cyril Gane, I think.
What do you think of that one?
Well, the numbers are crazy. Like, to even just toss like $10 or $20 on Rozenstruik wouldn't be out of the question, but Cyril Gane for the win. Yeah,
that's why I kind of said Cyril Gane. I like Rozenstruik. He has a lot of power. I think Cyril Gane, he's a little bit younger. He's 30. Rozenstruik's 32.
I don't know if I've even seen either of them fight.
Well, they've both knocked out Junior Dos Santos in the last 4 months. They're both coming off a knockout victory. Cyril Gane's 7-0. Rozenstruik
a punching bag.
Rosenstrike 10-1. Rosenstrike 10-1, and his only loss was to Francis Ngannou. A pattern that we've seen all too much in the heavyweight division. Same thing with Curtis Blades. If Francis Ngannou never existed, Curtis Blades and Jairzinho.
Stipe? Stipe too?
What?
Versus? Oh wait, no, he only fought Ngannou once. Never mind.
If we had not seen Francis Ngannou in this division, both Curtis Blades and Jairzinho Rosenstrike would be undefeated. So that's. I mean, obviously that doesn't matter because Francis Ngannou is in the division and he is a powerful puncher, and we got to go through guys like that to get to the title. But
it's a heavyweight division, so
right, exactly. And I was saying how I think that. Well, I said I think Cyril Gane's going to win, and I said I think Curtis Blades is going to win, and I said that these two have the best chance. More so Curtis Blades, I think, but these two have the best chance of beating Stipe Miocic if Ngannou and then John Jones doesn't.
Yeah, I think it's probably Curtis Blades.
Yeah,
Rogan's. Yeah, I agree with that statement.
One more thing. How many more fights do you think Stipe's got in him? I don't think it's that many.
Yeah, well, I've said he should have retired already. So I think it looked like in his last fight like he didn't want to even be in the ring. So probably one or two more.
You think he potentially retires if he beats Ngannou? You think he retires?
He could.
If he loses to Ngannou, you think he retires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, what
if he loses to,
he's gonna go get the title again. So what? He's gonna have to go through John Jones.
Well, yeah,
and he's gonna have to fight.
I think
Curtis
Stipe
Blades
wants to fight John Jones
before he even fights Ngannou. He's gonna have to fight Curtis Blades. So
he's never even fought Curtis Blades.
They don't want to. I'm telling you,
Curtis Blades is the dark horse in that division, man.
If he retired already, you look at the heavyweight division, that would be wide open for a top 5. They could even do a tournament,
right?
It would be sick.
What's upsetting is that the heavyweight division is so filled with these old veterans that you don't want to say don't deserve it, but they just haven't had a crop of young heavyweights that have come in, because all these it seems to me like over the last 5 to 10 years, and I have no data to prove this. I haven't looked at any trends or patterns, but if you are a guy who is built where if you lose weight, you go to 265 and you're a phenomenal athlete, you're more likely to go to the NFL, or you're more likely to go, to other sports divisions where you're not constantly getting the shit beat out of you by someone.
Yeah.
Whereas if you are,
Pat Mahomes.
Well, Pat Mahomes ain't 265.
Yeah. Well, Pat Mahomes choose football or baseball.
Well, yeah, But the point I'm trying to make is if you're a big guy, they just don't have any young heavyweights in the UFC. They don't have any. In the top 15, I don't think there's one guy that's under 30 years old.
Yeah.
And we've seen over just the last year, just the last 7 months that we've been doing this, you've seen at least one guy, 26 years or younger, emerge to the top 15 of every other division except the heavyweight division.
Yeah, well, it's just like that. There's so much power up there. We've talked about this a million times. Right. There's so much power up there that you get knocked out once. That's all it takes. It could happen to anybody,
I guess the closest thing we've seen to that is Ngannou. Yeah. But Ngannou made his way up the heavyweight ranks 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Gustafsson, when he tried moving up, didn't work out.
No, it did not work out for him. And now Verdum's in Bellator.
It's almost like heavyweights people's last resort. If they're not.
Right, because they know the possibility of getting their ass knocked out.
Yeah. It's a division.
I would love to.
It's a deadweight division.
I would love to see some more competition brought into that division because right now you have Stipe, you have John Jones, you have Ngannou, Curtis Blades. Cyril Gane is making an effort to push into that. Rosenstrike, you can argue but he's been around for a while too, and it looks like he's kind of hit his ceiling.
Yeah.
But 4 guys, and Cyril Gane's a maybe.
Yeah. Just think if you did find another guy like a Ngannou or someone, you know what I mean?
It doesn't even have to be an Ngannou. You could get a wrestler. You can get a guy like Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
Problem with that is that they're more adept to get knocked out, like Curtis Blades did.
Yeah. It's always a repeating battle. It looks like when in the top 5 because that's the only competition there is because people are just gonna have to fight each other 3 times?
Yeah.
3 times. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. It's a little bit hard to watch, and obviously someone like me who's watched UFC for 10 plus years, loves watching the Junior Dos Santoses, loves watching the Alistair Overeems.
The heavyweight division used to be stacked back in the day. That used to be
my God.
That used to be one of the reasons why people would watch.
When I originally got into the UFC, I can tell you the top 5 of the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Number 1 was Brock Lesnar. Number 2 was Shane Carwin.
Yeah.
You know who Shane Carwin is?
No. But
all right, well, hold on.
Can I ask you one?
Okay.
All right. Brock Lesnar. How many fights in the UFC did it take him to get a title shot?
He fought in Japan for his first fight. Then he fought Frank Mir, lost. Then he fought Heath Herring, beat him. Then he fought Couture for the title and won. So 3 fights in the UFC.
3 fights. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And then his fourth fight,
Tony Ferguson and all this.
And then his 4th fight was against Mir again, beat Mir, avenged his loss.
Mm-hmm.
And his 5th fight, I'm pretty sure, was against Kane, and Kane whooped his ass. I think he only had the title for 3. No, Cain Velasquez. Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, when I started watching it, and this is like UFC 85.
Yeah.
Was I think that was when George St. Pierre was at his fucking peak. BJ Penn was just getting over the fact that he was the biggest guy. You know, you had guys like John Jones entering. Lyoto Machida was phenomenal. Vitor Belfort was still good. And he still is, which is so fucking crazy.
Yeah, Vitor Belfort.
But anyway, heavyweight division, top 5. Brock Lesnar, Shane Carwin, Frank Mir. You had Cain Velasquez, who was the best heavyweight I've ever seen. I think Cain Velasquez was the perfect heavyweight ever.
Better than Stipe?
Better than Stipe. I think he was very similar to Stipe in almost every area, except Cain probably had better cardio. That was his nickname, Cardio Cain. He would go 5 rounds, and he would throw the most punches in the 5th round. And the 5th guy, there was who's the giant? Not Stefan Struve.
No.
Tim Sylvia. Tim Sylvia was like the 6'10" wrestling background guy with a mohawk. But yeah, the heavyweight division back in the day was amazing, and now it's like,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a boxing of that division, because it's just big people throwing big punches, man.
Right.
It's nothing really too special.
The perfect way to sum up the heavyweight division.
Need more jiu-jitsu in that.
The perfect way to sum up the heavyweight division is about 6 months ago now, when Francis Ngannou fought Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And it was like, okay, Ngannou needs one more fight to get to the title. Rozenstruik's up and coming. Rozenstruik's 9-0.
Yeah.
Rozenstruik might be able to he's knocked a lot of people out. Let's see if Ngannou can get knocked out. In 5 seconds, we saw Ngannou literally go like this. Just wild. Knock out Rozenstruik.
Yeah.
Just knock him out. Cold. And that was it. That was the whole fight.
He could do that to anybody.
He can't do that to anybody. Because if he does that to Stipe, he's getting double legged right away.
Oh yeah, but I mean, if those punches connect.
Oh, if they land, he can knock out anybody.
That's what I mean. Anybody.
Yeah,
that could happen to anybody. So I don't even really. That's what's wrong with that division.
Right. It totally is. And one of these days we're gonna see a guy like a Frank Mir come in who's just tapping everybody out.
That's what I mean.
Or a Minotauro.
That's what it needs.
Minotauro was the same way back in the day.
Yeah.
You know who Minotauro Nogueiras?
No.
The Nogueiras were these 2 legendary. They both came from Pride in Japan. Minotauro and Antonio Ruggiero Nogueira. And they were just tapping everybody out.
Yep.
And Minotauro was almost at a championship, but he was like 40 years old. And by the way, of my top 5 from 10 years ago, I missed Randy Couture. But Minotauro was tapping everybody out, and then he fought Frank Mir. And Frank Mir, at this point, it was before Brock Lesnar, it was before his motorcycle crash. And it was like, Frank Mir was this kind of jackass. Like, we had seen some jackasses in the sport, so you can't really call him an asshole. Like, he wasn't saying, I'm going to go have a Coors Light, go fuck yourself, Joe Rogan. He wasn't saying things like that. Yeah. That Brock later did. But
him and Joe Rogan didn't get along.
But Frank Mir was more like, I beat your guy, like, what's up? Yeah. And so he fought Minotauro Nogueira. And you might have seen this transition roll.
Yeah. When he broke his arm in the Kimura.
Yes. When he broke his arm, but he got flipped and tilted and turned again and then got it. And he just snapped his arm on live pay-per-view. And then afterwards, he's like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And he's going like this and he's
shooting
him up. Like, no, it's just funny.
Yeah. So the heavyweight division is going to get back to glory at some point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 30 minutes in already, and we still got like another 40 minutes to go. I started a little early because Nick's show was like 5 to 6 today.
Oh.
And I just realized that. I'm like, fuck it, I'll do another extra 20 minutes.
No.
So we will be right back. We're going to be talking about UFC 259 and 260 when we come back.
Yeah.
Stay tuned because UFC 259 might be the pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah. There's still a lot of
might
fights.
be the pay-per-view of the year.
Like Tyron Woodley and Sean Malley.
Right. So we'll be talking about that when we get back. Tyron Woodley, is that 260 or 259? Because O'Malley's 260.
Same card as Stipe Ngannou.
It is 260. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll be talking about UFC 259 when we get back. You're watching MMA Complete. Zach, I almost called myself Austin. Zach Drapo, Austin Garvey, Mark Tosi is going to be joining us soon. Check out SFBNRI at all SFBNRI platforms: YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn. Check out MMA Complete YouTube and MMA Complete Twitter, and we'll be right back. All right, so we're back. We're going to be talking about UFC 259. UFC 259 will be coming to us live on March 6th. The main card is going to start around 10 p.m. as they normally do. I wish this was an earlier one. That would have been sick, but it's not. In my memory.
Are you getting that off? No?
I already have it off. I already got 259 and 260 off.
Yeah, you got it.
In my memory.
Your memory?
Like I said, I've been watching UFC for the most part all the way through since like UFC 80. I can't remember a pay-per-view that had 3 title fights.
I don't think there has been.
I think this is the first one.
This is the first one.
Not only that, but I mean, there's 3 championship fights. They're all great, but there's 2 championship fights that have the name power of any other fight that you could call, being Adesanya and Amanda Nunes.
Yeah.
Well,
almost.
I mean, you want to talk about
the
biggest names in UFC. Adesanya's top 3 right now.
Adesanya
is
definitely.
And as far as women UFC fighters, there's only 2,
woman.
and only one is still fighting because it's Nunes and Rousey, and Nunes is still fighting.
Yeah, I know.
So those
Miesha Tate.
Miesha Tate, sure, but that's a distant third.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Holly Holm, people know her.
Yeah, you could say Holly Holm. You could say Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah.
You could say Wiley Zhang, Joanna Rose, but none of those are even close to Amanda Nunes.
Yeah. You can go up to a person and be like, "Yo, Joanna Calderwood," and they'd be like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, UFC 259 will have 3 title fights, and I'm gonna do a little bit more research, but I do believe that it is the first pay-per-view to do that.
Which we've talked about. We've talked about it in this podcast this year already. We've talked about maybe the UFC will do that. You know,
right? So the first title fight that we will see is the bantamweight championship between Petr Yan, the bantamweight title holder, and challenger Aljamain Sterling. The second title fight we will see. I'm going to just get the fights out of the way because there's so many that I'm going to forget them if we do analysis before we talk about the rest of them. So the second title fight we're going to see is between Amanda Nunes and Megan Anderson. And that will be for the women's bantamweight title.
That'll be Amanda Nunes.
The third championship we see is for the light heavyweight championship between the light heavyweight champion, Jan Blachowicz, and the middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya.
Who still has the belt.
Yeah.
Still has the belt.
Other fights in this card.
Dude, if he jumps up to heavyweight right after this fight and announces it, I will be shooketh. I will be...
Other fights also on this card.
Trembling at the knees.
Light heavyweight bout between number 2 ranked Thiago Santos, number 4 ranked Alexander Rakic. We also have one of the best prospects out of Khabib's camp, or at least out of Russia, in Islam Makhachev, who's going to be fighting Drew Dober. Mm-hmm. Drew Dober is a very skilled fighter, but Islam Makhachev is the heavy favorite, and we expect him to win.
Yeah.
And then you also have one of the greatest bantamweights ever, if not the greatest bantamweight ever, Dominic Cruz, fighting Casey Kenny, who's up and coming. I don't know. Do you know a little bit about Casey Kenny? I don't really know that much. I know Mark does.
Good wrestler.
Good wrestler.
Good wrestler.
Dominic Cruz is
That's all
okay
I
at
know.
wrestling. He's okay at wrestling. He's much better standing up.
Yeah.
Dominic Cruz has one of the weirdest styles ever.
I don't know. We watched him fight, dude, and I was like,
Yeah, but
this
we
guy
watched
got
him fight
slapped. This
Cejudo.
guy got
We watched him fight Cejudo, though.
Yeah.
Cejudo is one of the greatest bantamweights. You know, you got Demetrius Johnson, who's technically flyweight. You got Demetrius Johnson. You got Henry Cejudo. You got Dominic Cruz. You got TJ Dillashaw. And Cody Garbrandt. That's really it for the top 135 and unders.
Yeah.
Dominic Cruz was the original. Before Mighty Mouse went on a 12-fight win streak, before Cejudo slept everybody in his path, before Dillashaw took every drug under the planet, and before Garbrandt eventually knocked out Cruz, Cruz was the man.
Yeah.
Cruz beat Dillashaw twice.
Yeah. Wow.
So, I mean, that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah,
In between
prime,
then, he's turned his ACL 3 times, which is
that
sad to
changes
see.
a fucking person.
Right. But he's also only like 34
One-
years old.
Wow.
And he was the bantamweight champ like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's ranked 11 now, and I think he has potential if he could stay healthy to get back into things.
Ranked 11, huh? What?
Now that I'm thinking of it, I feel like because he is ranked very low for 11, I feel like he recently lost to someone like maybe what's Moraes' first name? Marlon Moraes. I feel like it might have been Moraes. Nope. His last fight was May 2020, and it was against Henry Cejudo, where he lost. He got knocked out. Let me read you this guy's fights, okay? January 2016, beat TJ Dillashaw for the title. June 2016, beat Uriah Faber for the title. December 2016, lost to Cody Garbrandt for the title. May of 2020, fights for the title. We want to talk about Adesanya stepping up and immediately getting a title shot. We want to talk about John Jones stepping up and immediately getting a title shot. How about Dominic Cruz? 4 years away from the business. Gets a title shot.
Is getting a title shot. Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Dominic Cruz, out of the game for 4 years. Comes back, title shot.
Brian Ortega.
Brian Ortega didn't get a title shot right away. He fought Chan Sung Jung.
Yeah, I know. But he had the fight once. He didn't get one right away when he came back 4 years later.
It's very similar. But the fact that Cruz got a title shot right away, that's kind of crap.
Yeah.
So I think his 11 ranking is actually kind of fit. I'm of the opinion that he didn't deserve it, but if they were looking for a tight spot, if they were looking for a contender, if he was like, I'm coming back, I'm ready, give it to him because he was the champ for so long. But anyway, that's like the least interesting fight in this card is Dominic Cruz. That's how fucking amazing UFC 259 is going to be. Thiago Santos versus Alexander Rakic. We'll start with that one. Thiago Santos is a savage. You only saw him, I mean, you know about the John Jones fight, but you only saw him get murked by Glover Teixeira.
Oh, murked, yeah.
He did get murked, but Glover Teixeira is one of the best light heavyweights on the planet.
Yeah.
Alexander Rakic is young. Alexander Rakic is the same style as Thiago Santos. They're going to stand up and brawl. You know, that wasn't Glover Teixeira's game plan. He went in there and take down Thiago Santos. He was successful at it.
Yeah. Thiago Santos is still the man.
Thiago Santos is a beast, dude. His leg kicks are ferocious. He's going to try to knock you out with every single swing.
Yeah.
I think he will be Alexander Rakic.
I also believe Thiago Santos will bounce back.
Right. I think Alexander Rakic has a great future. He's kind of in that Anthony Smith territory for me, where he's really good. He has a great stand-up game. Anthony Smith's a little bit better of a wrestler, but there's just a ceiling, especially in that light heavyweight division where you have a good amount of guys.
Yeah. Alexander Rakic, is he up and coming, or has he been in that division?
He's a little bit up and coming. I believe
13-2. He's only got 2 losses.
So I believe I think he hasn't had a fight. No, he beat Anthony Smith. Okay. We watched that at Dylan's house.
Okay.
He beat Anthony Smith, and that was his only fight during COVID. So I think he probably was on a really good streak, doing really well in the light heavyweight division, and then he might have stopped for COVID kind of thing. Yeah. So we haven't seen too much of him.
Alexander Rakic got a 2-inch reach advantage.
Okay, that's
1 inch taller, good. But yeah. I mean, pretty even keel fight.
But we saw Thiago Santos go against John Jones. He probably had like a 6-inch reach advantage.
Yeah, like I wonder if is he going to be prepared for those leg kicks? You know what I mean? Is he going to be?
Who's that,
able to-
Rakic?
Yeah.
I think that Thiago Santos will knock out Rakic. And then so we talked about all the contendership fights. I don't want to spend too much time on Makhachev Dover. We can analyze that another week if we really want to. Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Let me pull this up so we have the measurements, because the reach advantage for Aljamain Sterling, who is the challenger, will be very significant.
Didn't we say
4 inches?
All right, I was going to say we either said 4.5 or 4.
But for guys that are 5 feet 6 inches tall, 4 inches is big.
It is.
Aljamain Sterling is an unorthodox striker and a great wrestler. Petr Yan is better than a great boxer.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen him wrestle too much. We've seen him knock people down and get on top of them to ground and pound them, but we haven't seen him wrestle too much, especially with someone with Aljamain Sterling's credentials.
Very true.
This will be Aljamain's first 5-round fight.
That's a big.
Petr Yan had one 5-round fight against Jose Aldo, where he beat Aldo in the. I think he knocked him out in the 4th round. So he hasn't gone in the 5th round. This is a fight that screams stoppage to me. Whether it's Sterling by submission or Petr Yan by knockout, I think that this fight will be stopped. Probably in the 3rd round.
You think? Yeah, definitely by TKO or something. But are either of these guys got jiu-jitsu backgrounds or?
Yeah, Sterling.
Sterling does.
Yeah, Sterling
This is a very interesting fight. I really usually only pick the champ, but Aljamain Sterling is a good contender, dude.
Right, but Petr Yan is just balanced everywhere. Like if you had like a 2K graph, like he's like 75, 80 on everything, but Petr Yan's striking is like a 95. Like he has some fucking power for 135. Crazy power for 135. Okay. He's the Polish power guy.
Yeah, okay. Now who do you think where do you think he weighs in at? Like 145, 150?
When he
steps into the octagon.
When he steps into the octagon. Well, so he goes to bantamweight, so he cuts to 135. When he gets in the octagon, I think probably 145, 147.
Yeah, like Figueiredo looks like 150. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Figueiredo is probably 140. He's probably 140. There's only so much weight you can gain in 2 days. You know what I mean? If he was weighing in at 125, there's no way he's stepping in the octagon at 150.
There was a guy that did a 30-pound weight change.
TJ Dillashaw has the record for the most weight cut before a fight. You ever see the pictures? It's scary. Like he's skin and bones. TJ Dillashaw is a bantamweight fighter. He goes 135. He walks around at like 160. So he dropped like 25 pounds in something like 3 weeks. 2 weeks maybe? It might have been 2 weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
And he's literally like, you can see like the bones on his cheeks. And you can see like skin hanging off his bones.
Used to be Connor.
Connor had a very similar weight cut. Yes.
It's like a crackhead.
TJ Dillashaw did it for like 6 fights in a row though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, so yeah. So we're gonna have 3 more weeks to talk about this. I got Sterling. I think that it's a very close call because I really like Petr Yan, and I think he has some great power, but I think Sterling's time's now.
It's tough to pick against a champion, but
would it make you feel better if I told you?
I'm going to pick Sterling.
Would it make you feel better if I told you that Petr Yan's only the champion? Because 1, Henry Cejudo retired. He was the bantamweight title holder. He retired. 2, Dana White pushed him to the limelight. Because when Petr Yan fought for the title, Jose Aldo was the number 1 contender. Petr Yan was number 7. And Dana White was like, no, it starts with Yan. Like, Yan's the guy. Like, he's going to do it. Does that make you feel any different about Petr Yan? It shouldn't, but I understand if it could.
Not really, but I think, like, he's a younger guy. You know, what is he, 29? Petr Yan? Or is he 32? So like
28.
28.
Right, Aljamain's 31.
Yeah. A little different, but not too much. It doesn't take away his talent.
Right, it doesn't take away his talent, 100%.
Not at all. It doesn't take away that effect. Yeah, my bad. His striking's good. You know, he's got a lot of power. So, but
here's the thing about Aljamain. Aljamain is
take him to the ground.
Aljamain is very similar to Dominic Cruz, in the sense that when he's, you know, how people normally, and Petr Yan's a prime example. Normally, when people are walking people down in the cage, they're like this, in the pocket, square, maybe a head movement here, head movement there. Aljamain is like hands down. You're gonna see him like go to the left and then go upright and then like kind of do this shit. Like it's two completely different styles. Petr Yan is patient, square. Aljamain is unorthodox and all over the fucking place.
Okay.
Which, in a sense, can help both of them out. Because if Sterling is moving around and he sees Yan is staying somewhere, he can just pop him. But if Sterling's doing too fucking much moving and he just jolts his chin out at the same time, Yan has a hook.
Or not enough movement. You know?
And, you know, obviously because Yan is the striking specialist, it looks like it would favor him. So I can see that is probably the one point of contention I would give to Sterling, is that he needs to make sure his head movement is out of the fucking way of Petr Yan. Which, by the way, does have a 4-inch reach disadvantage. That's going to really help Sterling as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he needs to keep his movement and his distance, so I'm expecting to see leg kicks.
Yeah, leg kicks are going to be huge, and Yan is probably going to have some thundering leg kicks.
Yeah.
Sterling probably would too, but I would have to give the leg kick advantage to Yan, which means that Sterling's going to have better ones at the end of the day. Because that's what I said about Conor. And then Conor got leg kicked the fuck out.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, dude, no one was even really talking about leg kicks. Like,
right.
And we didn't even talk about it on the podcast. We talked about it coming back from Dollar General.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so the second fight, we're not going to spend too much time on it because we can do it at another day, and there's only so much you can talk about Amanda Nunes losing because it's just unfathomable. Unfathomable.
No.
I think that's it.
No.
Fathomable. Unfathomable.
You're messing that up somehow.
Unfathomable.
Unfathomable.
Yeah.
Unfathomable.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like that. I don't know.
Megan Anderson is challenging for Amanda Nunes. Megan Nunes. Megan Anderson is not ranked number 1 contender. Not ranked number 2.
She's not even ranked, right?
Not ranked number 3. Not ranked number 4. Megan Anderson. Oh, is this for the featherweight title? It is for the... Oh, it's the featherweight title. Amanda Nunes holds both the bantamweight and featherweight title. So it's for the featherweight title, not for the bantamweight. Excuse me. And where might... Oh, they don't even have featherweight rankings on UFC.com. See if I can do a little bit of research and see. Isn't it funny that the snowplows... It's the second time here today. And when we got the big snowstorm a week ago, we only got one plow, and it was like literally the next day.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing.
Go
for a cup of coffee right now.
I could go for a cup of coffee right now. Megan Anderson is currently ranked number 7 in the women's featherweight division.
Not even in the top 5. Dude.
Not even in the top 5.
But like, who else are you gonna put against her?
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna have Shevchenko fight her a third time.
Yeah, she's insane.
Amanda Nunes is the Anderson Silva of women's divisions.
Yeah. She's
running it, and she's facing everybody that she can, and she's beating them soundly. I now that we're on this, and like I said, we are going to save this for another day, but I want to take a look at Amanda Nunes' record and see her percentage of stoppages. Her last 2 fights were a unanimous decision. 3 fights before that were knockout. Then she had a split with Shevchenko. Then she had knockout over Rousey, submission over Miesha Tate, a UD over Shevchenko, tapped Sarah McMahon, knocked out Shayna Baszler. Her last loss was in 2014. She got knocked out by Kat Zingano.
Like, this girl last loss was 2014, dude. She's just get absolutely wrecked.
6 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fights later. This will be her 12th.
And we're not even giving her a chance to win. We're not even we don't even think it's.
Oh, this is Nunes.
Oh, okay.
This is Nunes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, 8-fight title win streak. 8 title fight win streak. Yeah, Amanda Nunes. I mean, there's
8 or 7. I thought it was 7 because of that thing that was posted in the chat. Wait, John Jones is.
I think it's
She's 7-0, and John Jones is like, something crazy.
Tate, Rousey, Shevchenko, Pennington, Justino, Holm, Rondemy, Spencer. So this will be 9 if she wins. If she wins against Megan Anderson. Who knows? Maybe Megan Anderson's the one to do it. Maybe Megan Anderson's going to dethrone Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, maybe.
It's unlikely. It's very unlikely.
I'll tell you the numbers.
And we're talking, and we're talking Stipe might retire. Dude, Amanda Nunes might retire after 259. She was talking about it 2 fights ago. And Dana White has been like, no, you can't retire yet. No.
Yeah, well, yeah. She probably wants to get paid.
Nunes is decently young. She's 32.
Yeah, I know. I thought she was 34.
Can we say that Megan Anderson is listed here as 6 feet tall with a 3-inch reach advantage over Nunes? That'll be something to look out for.
6 feet, huh?
Wow.
That's big. That's big.
And so Amanda Nunes is obviously the heavily favorite. And we will continue beating that drum that Amanda Nunes is the greatest women fighter ever, and she will be all comers.
Which round do you think? Because if you think Amanda Nunes is going to win.
Well, Amanda Nunes, her last 2 fights have gone to a decision.
I would say this one goes to a decision. And I think just because the girl's 6 feet.
I think now. I think this is going to get stopped. I think it's going to get stopped because Megan Anderson is ranked number 7. I'm not very familiar with her, and that's unfortunate for me to say. But she's ranked number 7. Her last 2 fights have been against Felicia Spencer and Jermaine Durandamy, who are both in like the top 3.
Yeah.
And they went to decision. So I think that she'll get a knockout victory.
Okay.
I want to read out the strike total for her last couple fights. All right. 124 to 42. 6 takedowns to 0. That's Felicia Spencer. 79 to 40. 8 takedowns to 0. 17 strikes to 11. That's against Holly Holm. 17 strikes to knock out Holly Holm, who is one of the greatest knockout artists in women's divisional history.
17 to 11. That's actually not that bad.
Yeah, that's the closest it's been.
Not that bad.
But wait, here comes a good one. 13 to 3.
Wow.
After that, or before that, I should say, 124 to 64.
It's the most yet.
In her last 5 fights, in her last 6 fights, Amanda Nunes
has gotten hit.
19 takedowns.
19.
And she's been taken down 1 time.
Yeah. Who was it? Was it Finchenko?
It was Raquel Pennington, who Raquel Pennington is a wrestling background.
Okay.
So, yeah, Amanda Nunes is just, whoo, man, she is like the only woman I would ever say could beat up a male UFC fighter. Besides, well, you have like,
I don't know.
Like maybe Joanna. Joanna, if she got the right opponent, could do it. Shevchenko could knock the lights out of anybody, really. But Nunes has the best chance.
You just seen about that guy that was fracturing skulls?
Yeah, you were talking about that.
I know, but that's just like, dude, that's my opinion has changed.
Right. So yeah, I mean, who you got? Anderson? Nunes?
Yeah, Nunes by decision.
Okay. I got Nunes by 3rd round knockout. TKO.
Yeah, knockout.
All right, and now this is good timing. We got like 15 minutes. Light heavyweight championship of the world. Israel Adesanya is looking to become what, the 3rd ever champ?
3rd ever.
3rd? Conor and Cormier, is that it? Oh, Cejudo did it too.
2nd and
4th.
Not GSP was different divisions and not.
It wasn't at the same time, yeah. So it's just Cejudo, Cormier, and Conor.
Yeah.
So he's looking to become the 4th champ.
Yeah.
No one's ever done it middleweight, lightweight division either. Cormier did it light heavyweight, no one's ever done it middleweight, light heavyweight. Cormier did it light heavyweight and heavyweight.
Yeah.
Adesanya is fighting Jan Blachowicz. Adesanya has said one of the most interesting things I think about this fight is that Adesanya will come into this fight at around his normal weight of like 185 to 190. I think that's a big part because Jan Blachowicz is going to be a full like 15, 20 pounds heavier than Adesanya, if that means.
Guy's got power, man. He could knock him out.
Blachowicz has serious power. Serious power. And they're these styles
So
are
we got the
very
title.
similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. They're kickboxers. Jan Blachowicz is like 39. Adesanya is like 31. I wonder who has the reach advantage. I think Adesanya will. Adesanya has a 2-inch reach advantage and a 1-inch height advantage.
What do you
give Blachowicz's chances?
I give Adesanya 8 out of. Man, it's so weird because it's like we both want to say Adesanya is gonna win, but this guy's fucking 20 pounds heavier, and the reason why he even has a title is because he knocked the dude out. You know what I mean? So say 8 out of 10 times Adesanya wins.
Can I say one thing?
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Adesanya's last fight was against Paulo Costa.
Yeah.
Paulo Costa showed up to that fight at least 205.
Yeah.
That dude is beefed out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, but he had
so maybe not 205,
rough,
maybe like 200.
Cut. Yeah, like Paulo Costa shouldn't even be in that division, honestly.
No, he should not. Paulo Costa could make heavyweight.
Yeah, he could.
He absolutely could.
He could. That would be very interesting, but he doesn't have the reach to be at a heavyweight.
Absolutely not. Adesanya had like a 7-inch reach advantage on him.
That's crazy. Yeah, the guy's got short arms, short stubby arms.
No
offense, man.
I give Blachowicz 25% chance to win.
25.
I think there's.
Yeah, so 8 out of 10 times Adesanya wins. That's what I think.
I think if Jan Blachowicz wins, it's by a punch that lands when Adesanya is trying some freaky shit.
Yeah.
Because I think Adesanya's going to play with him.
I hope he doesn't get knocked out because that'll shoot out the John Jones fight pretty much. Not totally, but at least for years.
I don't think we'll ever see Adesanya versus Jones. Because I don't think Jones will ever come back down to light heavyweight.
No, Adesanya to heavyweight.
I don't think Adesanya will go to heavyweight. I don't think it'll happen.
John Jones he ran.
Unless Adesanya was fighting. He did not run from Adesanya.
He ran, dude. He ran.
What do you mean? John Jones declared he was going to heavyweight. Like
he said he was getting bored. Dude, if you just waited, you wouldn't have been bored.
How long is he supposed to wait?
No, another 6 months.
Yeah, but he didn't know that at the time.
I don't know. He definitely didn't just Did he not run?
He went the harder route.
Did he not run?
He didn't run from Adesanya, no.
Maybe he did. We'll never know.
Maybe he did.
We'll never know. We can only speculate.
Maybe the Colts will be worse with Carson Wentz.
They
maybe.
Will. Dude, you were saying this shit about Phillip Rivers, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Anyway.
We'll see.
John Jones went to heavyweight 6 months before.
Yeah.
Israel Adesanya said he was going to go to light heavyweight.
Yeah.
I think that in a year from now, if Adesanya is the champ, still undefeated, John Jones is maybe the champ, that we see just that one fight. Adesanya goes to heavyweight for one fight. He probably puts on 20 pounds, goes to like 215.
Yeah.
And besides that, I don't think Adesanya ever moves up again. Because I can totally see Adesanya dropping the light heavyweight belt and going back to middleweight.
Yeah, he could. There's so many more fights for him. Like
Robert Whittaker
would be a great
fight.
Whittaker.
Robert Whittaker deserves a title shot, maybe as much as anybody in the UFC right now.
We could definitely come up with an argument for that.
Glover Teixeira.
Yeah.
Glover Teixeira is one. And this is just people that haven't gotten announced title shots yet. Glover Teixeira's one.
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje's another. Charles Oliveira's another.
Tony was one.
Tony was one. He's not anymore.
Not anymore.
Although I think Tony has a great shot of resurrecting his career. If you think about it.
Yeah. Oh, no. I've thought about it. He definitely does.
If you think about it. Tony's only lost to Justin Gaethje, number one fighter in lightweight right now. One of the greatest technical strikers we've seen in the last year.
Yeah.
And Charles Oliveira, who's like maybe the best fucking jiu-jitsu fighter since Khabib.
Probably the next champ.
I think that Tony has a great shot to come back. But yeah, so Adesanya, Blachowicz. What round? It's going to be a 5-round fight.
They're both champs, so you can't really do championship rounds. Champions.
Well, Jan Blachowicz has never been into the championship rounds.
Yeah. I feel like the fight
This is Jan Blachwicz's
goes
first
in
title defense.
favor more to Adesanya as the fight goes on, because Blachwicz will get more tired. Adesanya's not cutting any weight. He's going to be fresh in there. He's going to walk into that weigh-ins with freaking Adidas pants on and a long sleeve shirt. Flip flops maybe.
Right.
It's going to pretty much.
You think Adesanya in the later rounds?
Yeah, I think 4th round.
Here's one thing.
5th round even too. See,
I don't think that the longer it goes, the more it benefits Adesanya, because I don't think Jan gets tired. I think Jan is in phenomenal shape. He has always come into the ring in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him in rounds 4 and 5, so there's definitely an argument that he could get tired, but I don't think that is likely. I think that both of these guys, I think we have a slow pace for this fight. I think both guys testing each other out, throwing some leg kicks. I think Adesanya is going to be kicking the shit out of Blachwicz's legs. I think Blachwicz is going to be firing with some right hands. I think Adesanya is going to get caught once or twice by a nice little left jab, right hook, because Blachwicz has really great hands.
Yeah.
And then I think at some point after Adesanya's beating the shit out of Blachwicz's legs, Adesanya goes for like an uppercut into a head kick, stuns Blachwicz, and then Adesanya finishes him. I think that it's going to be even, Adesanya wins. Like, it's just going to be like 10 seconds where Adesanya just hits that combo, finishes him.
So so
I'm going to say 4th round.
So you think the same as me, 4th round?
Oh, did you say 4th?
So I said, yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah. I think Adesanya, I don't see anybody that can beat him not named John Jones.
Yeah.
His striking is too good. He's tough. No one's taking him down. He has fucking phenomenal takedown defense.
Yeah.
Which is the only flaw in his game. You could say if Adesanya gets taken down by a really great wrestler, he's fucked.
Yeah.
Which he probably is.
Yeah.
Especially with those long limbs getting caught in heel hooks like nothing.
I think that guy not being in the championship rounds, like Adesanya has been there and he has fought all 5 rounds. So I think that's an advantage in itself.
Well, it's interesting you say that because Adesanya's only ever been in the 5th round once, and he finished Kelvin Gastelum. He's never gone to a decision in championship fight.
Romero.
Oh, that's right. Does that fight even count?
No, well, yeah.
But you're right. You're totally right. He did go 5 full rounds. He went 5 full rounds with Yoel Romero, and I believe combined they didn't even throw 100 strikes.
Yeah. How long was the Paulo Costa fight?
2 rounds.
2 rounds? Yeah.
Like beginning of the second.
I think.
Do you think he's going to hump Blachwicz like he did Costa?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. What's this guy's name?
Jan Blachwicz.
Blachwicz, okay. I think Jan's smarter than Paulo Costa. That's why I think it goes longer, but I don't know, 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah. All right. So that's about going to do it for us. Fight Night 186 will be happening this weekend. Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis.
What do you think about Tyron Woodley?
Tyron Woodley, who's he fighting again? Remind me. Luque. I think Luque is going to win.
Yeah.
I think Luque is going to drop Woodley.
Yeah.
Similar to what Colby did.
Yeah.
Actually, Colby kind of wrestled him a little bit and then dropped him, but I think Luque is going to drop
Woodley. And you
Woodley.
think Sean O'Malley has a comeback? Does he bounce back? I mean,
I'm going to have to think more about that. Almeida's a tough kid, man. Almeida was like 14-0, and then he ran into top 5 guys and he lost like 4 in a row. All the top 5 guys.
Yeah.
So that's tough. O'Malley, he has to be healthy, man. Both his legs have given his problems in his last 2 fights. He has to be healthy to win.
Just that one leg that he has that he messed his foot.
Well, he got his foot messed up on, and then he got a nerve pinched. So what's going on?
Same leg.
So he's got to be healthy. If he's healthy, I think he wins.
I think he wins too.
Yeah. All right, so UFC 259, we will be live streaming from like 5, 6 o'clock to about 1 in the morning. So definitely come check that out. Wherever you're watching this, Facebook, check out MMA Complete YouTube channel. We got to start uploading like mini clips to that. I want to start doing that soon.
Okay.
Follow us on Twitter, MMA Complete Podcast.
What was I going to say? Forget me.
All right. So yeah, check us out every Thursday night at 8 p.m.
We're doing a 1 hour
podcast
pre-pod before the. Okay.
Yeah.
1 hour pre-pod.
If you're down to do it, that's what my plan was.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the cards the main card starts at 10, the prelim start at 7. So maybe we want to do like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, we will be doing that for UFC 259. That's going to be March 6th, Saturday. Check out UFC 186, Lewis versus Blades. Check out 187, Rosenstrike versus Gain. Both of those are going to be monumentally huge in the heavyweight division. They're going to be fun fights. They're going to be great fights. And then March 6th is where business really gets fucking cracking. That will be the card possibly of the year. And then obviously stay tuned because we're going to be talking about UFC 259 and UFC 260, which is March 27th. Both 5 championship fights and 2 cards. Like it doesn't get better than that in 1 month. In 1 month, 5 championship fights.
Card. That's going to be a big.
That's so huge.
It's going to be sweet.
So check us out every Thursday night. Tweet at us at MMA Complete. We're all on there, and we'll tweet you back, answer questions, whatever.
Definitely doing some polls and stuff.
Going to be doing some polls
and stuff coming
so
up.
Definitely go check those out. Vote. We like interacting with you guys, so try to shoot us some comments, questions, whatever you got.
Merch coming soon.
Bet the Deed podcast coming soon.
Yeah, Bet the Deed podcast. That's the name. And I talked to Ryan and his girlfriend can come up with some design.
That'd be sick.
She's a graphic designer. She went to college for it, so that'll be sick.
That'd be sick. All right, so that's gonna about do it for us. Check out MMA Complete YouTube. Check out all SFB NRI platforms. I put out an article today about the Carson Wentz trade. Check that out. Check out all articles because we've been coming up with a lot lately. If you're into the NFL,
Colts 22-1.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's about it. I've been trying to drag this out to go to 850. I can't think of anything else. You got anything?
Conor Poirier. Who do you got?
Poirier.
Miocic,
Cormier. Miocic, Ngannou. Who you got?
Miocic. I don't give a shit about Ngannou.
Volkanovski, Ortega. Who you got?
Volkanovski. Changed my mind about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my. That fight's gonna be really close.
I know.
Right now, I'm at Volkanovski, but last week I was at Ortega.
Last week I was at Ortega too.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so that's gonna do it for us. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you everybody for watching and supporting the stream. Check us out next Thursday night at 8 p.m. Every Thursday night at 8 p.m.
Hopefully Mark shows up. Fucking bastard.
Yeah, hopefully Mark shows up. Hopefully Dylan shows up as well. Maybe we can get Colby.
Yeah.
And
we should get Colby just on regular pop.
And check out the live stream March 6th when we live stream UFC 259 from about 6 to 1 in the morning. Thank you everybody for watching.